It's been, we talk to people all the time.
Right.
So fundraising is a continuous process, as it should be for any startup. And we were fortunate enough to find people who believed in our vision, who believed in the mission, and saw the growth in the product.
Right.
Having new partners like Tencent and Foxconn, their
Right.
pedigree speaks for themselves.
Absolutely.
It's fantastic.
Right.
Fundraising is definitely not easy, generally speaking.
Right.
But the best part is that the product speaks for itself, and I think that's why we have this new round of funding and the valuation.
Right. Let's just talk about the people who've led this round of funding. You've obviously got Tencent and Foxconn, big players in their spaces, and I'll get to Tencent in a second. But first of all, if you could talk about some of the smaller partners, your existing SoftBank was obviously a huge partner to begin with. Has it also participated in this round of funding?
Absolutely. Our existing shareholders, Bharti, SoftBank, and Tiger, have all participated as a part of this round.
Right.
And that's amazing because it shows the continued support they have in the long-term vision of the company.
Right. And you also had, of course, Nikesh Arora was a huge part of this relationship as well. He's left SoftBank in the meanwhile. Has that affected that relationship in any way?
Not at all. The investment in Hike came much before Nikesh was there.
Right.
Came directly from Masa himself. I've known Nikesh for a long time. He was definitely a great sort of mentor and advisor,
right.
and continues to be, despite not being at SoftBank. So.
All right. Let's talk about Tencent. Because Tencent, with its WeChat product, is actually one of your major competitors, if you think of it that way. In the international market. Now, coming in, obviously, they bring in with a lot of experience. But what does that speak for you in terms of the individual products of WeChat and Hike? Perhaps will we see any synergy going forward, or will you continue to be competitors in that space?
So the fact that Tencent has put money into Hike speaks a lot about the product that we're building and the company that we're building.
Right.
Hike becomes sort of that India bet.
Right.
And it's very clear that if you want to succeed in a market like India, you have to understand the local nuances and diversities in this market.
Okay.
And in messaging and social,
right.
It's pronounced because it's social.
Of course.
And I think they see that too.
Right.
As far as synergies go, don't expect anything between sort of Hike and WeChat the products.
Okay.
However,
right.
Tencent, being a shareholder in this company, now will open their doors to us and sort of give us an idea of what's been happening in China.
Right.
And access to technology, insights, people, and so on and so forth is something we're looking forward to very eagerly.
Right. So in that sense, you will continue to have these two separate products. Perhaps even compete if you, if on at some point, perhaps when you're in a different stage of your growth. But that also brings me to the next question. You've said that 95% of your consumer base, your install base, is in India, and obviously localization and the stickers are obviously a huge part of Hike's strategy here. Going forward, you've got a huge new round of funding, $175 million. How do you plan to deploy that? Will you look at entering new markets as well with that?
Our focus remains India, given how diverse and complicated the market actually is.
Right.
There's a lot changing here as we speak.
Right.
We will continue to invest in people, invest in sort of our sort of product, and more importantly, for the first time in a long time, we'll have the sort of the ammo to make some long-term bets.
Right, right. And what might those be? Considering that you've also got Telegram, WhatsApp, who are obviously increasing their presence even on Indian shores as well.
We've already begun certain investments in things like machine learning and computer vision. The question is, can we accelerate those investments with the new sort of fund round?
So you're looking at chatbots and things like that. Is that what you perhaps are implying in terms of newer parts of the application?
Chatbots is interesting. It's not something we are overly excited about.
Right.
Our simple question to ourselves inside the company is, if the market changes in 6 months to a year, and you have better smartphones, better data connectivity, and so on and so forth, what happens to messaging itself?
Correct, precisely.
And behind the scenes, a lot of the changes we'll make are to do with machine learning and computer vision.
Okay. Going forward, you obviously also now got the ammunition, like you said, perhaps to look at some acquisitions as well. And perhaps you mentioned, you are in talks with some people. Could you perhaps elaborate on what parts of, what part of your product particularly look to expand? Who are you, or perhaps what sort of acquisitions you're looking at?
So, we talk to a bunch of companies all the time.
Right.
If we had a framework on acquisitions, it'd be either acquiring a very smart team,
right,
or acquiring a technology that's unique to that team that we ourselves choose not to build.
Okay.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/etnow.